Good day and welcome to the channel. In this video we're going to explain what the differences are between the Ryobi 18 volt chainsaws and the 40 volt chainsaws. We've selected this one, by the way, and this is the one we're going to test. This is the RY40530 in case you want to get the exact model. I have to take down a few trees and I thought I'd just pick up another Ryobi tool because, as you can see, I've got a lot of them. By the way, this is completely unsponsored. Ryobi has never given us anything. So when you see all this Ryobi stuff, yeah, it's not from Home Depot, it's not from Ryobi, it's not from Mammoth, it's not from anybody. It's all honest. Anyway, so I'm looking for a chainsaw that can do something. Well, initially I was thinking, about twice the size of this, maybe like a 5 or 6 inch, log I gotta cut through. It turns out I'm gonna need something a little bit more serious. So this 18 volt is the Ryobi P546TL because this is just the tool only. You can buy the same thing with the battery if you want. What's wrong with this is not a whole lot, but there are a couple of things that if you're used to chainsaws, you might not like. The first thing is it doesn't have a brake. So if the chainsaw kicks back and your hand lurches forward, that little stopper, that'll stop your hand from hitting the chainsaw, but it won't actually brake and stop the chain from going around. So that's one thing. Another thing, it's a manual oiler, which is just fine. If you don't know what that means, you need an oil to get the chain lubed and to keep everything running smoothly. And with this one, what you need to do is push a little bulb down every once in a while and push some oil onto the blade. Not a problem. Way better than the ones that don't even have that. And some of these little mini chainsaws don't even have that. And for less than $200, it's a pretty good deal, this unit. But I was into Home Depot looking for some chain oil, and I stumbled on this one, and it was on for 25% off. So this one went for about 180 Canadian, so let's, for easy math, call it 140 something US. This one was selling for about 200. So for just a few dollars more, I can get way better chainsaw, which we'll explain in a second here, the features. But in addition to that, I paid a little bit more. I paid about 240 Canadian, so for easy math, let's call it 200 US, and I ended up with a 40 volt battery, a 4 amp 40 volt battery. That battery is worth, just the battery alone is worth somewhere around $200. So it just didn't make any sense to keep the smaller one. Let's go over the features that are in the RY40530 and explain why it's better. Firstly, this is a 14 inch versus the 10 inch. 14 inch, better. How large can you cut? If you want to cut straight through, I can cut something up to about 12 inches with this. And Ryobi says on the back of the box, if you're going to double cut one side then go around to the other, you can cut up to about 24 inches with this, which I guess, yeah, that's about right. Another thing, this is an automatic oiler. In other words, I just put oil in and it just feeds the oil in as needed. So you can see I ended up with this one because financially it just didn't make any sense to stay with the smaller one. Now you might want the smaller one, the P546TL, because it's a lot lighter. It's about half the weight. Now this is an 18 volt, which means it takes this kind of battery, right? Now I have a lot of these tools, so I have a few of these batteries, so that's why I wanted this. I don't want to be chainsaw guy. I just wanted to be able to have one to do this job. So this is probably more than enough for most people. And I have read a lot of reviews from, and I'm not exaggerating here, from people that are saying, I'm a 65-year-old woman, 5'2", these are not obviously giant women, and they were able to move this one around no trouble at all to clear off brush, take down small trees. This one comes with a much more serious 40 volt. This is going to last a heck of a lot longer, and it's going to run a heck of a lot stronger. Now, you might ask, why did I end up with this one in particular over the other 40 volts? And there's a couple of reasons. Number one, this is a brushless motor. What that means is that there's brushes that are spin around the electric motor, and if you can remove those from the system, the electric motors are more expensive to build, but you'll get, well, Ryobi claims about 15% more power, but really what it's about is lifespan. So the unit will last longer, and the battery will last longer, and that's a big deal when you're trying to cut down trees or clear brush or whatever. Some of the 40 volt systems don't have brushless, and that's something to look for. Okay, let's get to unboxing this one because I'm going to take this one back and we'll show you what's inside the RY40530, and I can tell you that if my expectation is correct, the only thing it's missing, chain oil. Don't run your chainsaw without chain oil for more than a couple of minutes. You really need to have it. Now, if you don't have chain oil, yes, you can use pretty much any oil that's really thin, but it's best to use chain oil. It will make your chain last longer. You don't want it to overheat and you don't want it to snap. that can be dangerous. Buy some chain oil. This cost me $7 for this Husqvarna all-weather chain oil, and that's about $5 US. Don't screw up your tool by not buying it. Battery. Charger. Chainsaw. Okay, so let's go over this. Chain oil. That's where your oil goes, you know? Chain oil. Yeah, this is about 10 pounds, so it's not light, but it's not heavy either, especially compared to a real chainsaw, you know, serious gas chainsaw. It's not that much. Has a safety lock, so I have to push that back to get it to start. And this is not a brake, this is just a guard. There's the model, which if you look closely at the bottom, you'll see chain and bar replacement part numbers. Great if you need them. You probably won't, but you might. And that's where the battery goes. And there's your tool for adjustment. So how do you get that out? Because it's a little stiff if you're just trying to pull on it. You don't. You just put your hand on it like this and slide it out. There you go. Screwdriver, hex tool. What do you use that for? Well, use it right there. If you need to take off the cover, and use it right here to adjust the tension of the blade. And you might ask, well, how tight should the blade be? It should be able to pull it down and have it snap back in. You don't want it loose. If it's sagging much below, you're going to want to tighten it up. Chain guard. Let's get to chopping up some wood. This is the battery it comes with. All of these 40-volt batteries are interchangeable. However, they are not the same. This is a 4 amp, for instance. This is a 5 amp. Where'd the 5 amp come from? That came from my lawnmower. Let's see if this brand new 4 amp battery from Ryobi fits in my 7-year-old Ryobi lawnmower. And the answer is it had better, or it's going back. Like a glove. And we're going to use this old battery, this old 40-volt battery that I got with my lawnmower in the chainsaw. Why? Because this is already charged and that one isn't. That is nice and balanced. Okay, so now let's go cut some stuff, right? Wrong. You better know what you're doing with one of these because these aren't toys. And the number one thing you need, even if you don't think you need it, is glasses. Now, I wear glasses normally, but I'm going to wear proper safety glasses because I really like my eyes. Now we're good to go? Well, if I was doing a lot of cutting, I would get proper gloves, but I'm not. I'm just going to do some demonstrations, so I'm just going to work with the eyes. Now, keep in mind, what you have to think of is what the forces are that are in play here. When you're cutting down, the chainsaw is going to be pulling forward. When you're cutting up, the chainsaw is going to be kicking back. And you better understand those forces or you can get hurt. Even with the smaller 18-volt one. So be careful. That's not a toy. Pretty damn good. Pretty impressive. Six by 6. Hell yeah. So what do we think of the Ryobi RY40530? Pretty freaking impressed. So let's go over a couple of things you might not have thought of. One thing you need, glasses. For sure, you better have safety glasses working with any chainsaw. But one of the things you don't need are earplugs. Why is that? Because it's so much quieter than a gas one. Gas chainsaws are loud and they really wind up. This just makes a nice smooth sound. Didn't bother my ears at all. Could you use earplugs? Sure you could, you just don't have to. And that gets to another point about electric. Because it's electric, it's smooth, so much smoother than gas chainsaw. There's no jerking around. And when I run out, I don't have to mix oil and gas or do anything silly like that. I just take the other battery that I bought separately and put it in. Well, I didn't actually buy it separately, it came with my lawnmower. So I've got 2 of these batteries now, I'm good to go. The only thing that you have to buy that isn't in the box, which is the world's tiniest bit disappointing, is chainsaw oil. Pretty minor. My guess is they didn't include it because it's volatile, right? It moves around and sloshes, and they don't want something like that in the package for this. I doubt they were just trying to save the money. As far as weight goes, yeah, it's pretty good. It's way less heavy than a regular gas chainsaw of an equivalent strength, but it of course does have some drawbacks. What are the drawbacks? Well, first thing, this should be a brake and it's not. Now, we saw when we were cutting that this thing turns off pretty quickly, so it's really not much of an issue with the electric like it would be with the gas. This doesn't keep spinning, so I guess it's not a big deal, but I would still like to see that. Second thing, I would like to see that rocker panel be a little more industrial strength, although I haven't used it enough to know whether it's going to stand up, but it would be better if it was larger and it would be better if it were made of metal. So we're super happy with this thing. We've got a couple of jobs to do that are larger than what we originally anticipated, and this guy is going to do the job for us. So hey, look, if you like this video, please give us a big thumbs up. We'd really appreciate it. It helps with the Google algorithm. Subscribe's also appreciated. We have a lot of Ryobi reviews, from jigsaws to circular saws to the lawnmower. We've had the lawnmower for 7 years and done a review every year of it, showing its resiliency and its strength and just how tough it is. And hey, if you have any questions or concerns, you can get a hold of us directly at www.urtech.ca. That's www.urtech.ca. Or you can leave a question or comment below, and if we don't get back to you, somebody else will, because it's YouTube and everybody has an opinion. Thanks and have a great day. Bye-bye.